the sparkly start of Bracelet Buddies. Lily hesitated, then unzipped her backpack, pulling out a showbox overflowing with vibrant colors. Okay, don't laugh. Max leaned closer, eyes widening. Inside, nestled amongst soft cotton balls, were dozens of friendship bracelets. Not the simple knotted kind he sometimes saw on tourists, but intricate patterns woven with beads, charms, and shimmering thread. There were chevrons, diamonds, even tiny embroidered flowers. Wow, he breathed, picking up one with miniature glass beads that caught the sunlight. These are amazing. Did you make all these? Lily flushed, relieved. Yeah. I started during the summer. It's kind of therapeutic. She picked at a loose thread on her jeans. Max examined another bracelet, a thick band of turquoise and silver. You could sell these. Seriously. These are way better than anything I've seen at the mall. Lily shook her head. Nah. It's just a hobby. A hobby that could make us money. Max exclaimed, his entrepreneurial gears already turning. Think about it, Lily. Everyone at school would want one. Especially the freshmen. They'd be perfect for what's that thing? The welcome to high school dance. We could be rich. Lily frowned. I don't know, Maximum. I never really thought about selling them. The thought of strangers examining her creations, judging them, made her stomach churn. Come on, Max urged, his eyes gleaming. We could split the profits 50-50. I'll handle the marketing and sales. You just keep making these awesome bracelets. It'll be a piece of cake. He pictured himself, flush with success, handing out business cards with a flourish. Lily chewed her lip, considering. The idea of earning her own money was appealing. And Max did have a point, her creations deserved to be seen. I guess. Yes. Max pumped his fist. Okay, first things first, we need a name. Something catchy. He paced the small patch of grass outside the library, snapping his fingers. Bracelet Bonanza. No, too cheesy. Sparkle Squad. Nope. Too sparkly. Lily giggled. Maybe we should sleep on it. That evening, Lily showed her collection to her dad. Mr. Rodriguez whistled, impressed. These are beautiful, Mija. You have a real talent. He ran a callous thumb over a delicate bracelet woven with pastel-colored threads. So, you're thinking of selling them? Lily nodded, explaining Max's plan. Mr. Rodriguez listened patiently, his expression thoughtful. When she finished, he said, It's a good opportunity to learn about business, Lily. Just make sure you protect yourself. He paused, stroking his chin. And what about a name? You and Max come up with anything good? Lily shook her head. Not really. Everything sounds kind of dumb. Mr. Rodriguez smiled. Well, these bracelets are all about friendship, right? And you and Max are working together. So, how about Bracelet Buddies? Lily's face lit up. Bracelet Buddies? I love it, Dad. It's perfect. It felt right, somehow. Warm and friendly, just like the bracelets themselves. Maybe, just maybe, this whole business thing wouldn't be so scary after all. Bracelets, bracelets everywhere. Bracelets, bracelets everywhere. Lily thought the phrase, a twisted take on a poem she'd read in English class, as she surveyed their workshop, Max's cluttered garage. Beads of every color imaginable overflowed from plastic containers, threatening to spill onto the workbench already covered in half-finished bracelets and stray bits of elastic cord. Recess had become a frantic blur of nimble fingers and muttered calculations. The demand for bracelet buddies had exploded overnight. Word, apparently, traveled fast in the 5th grade. Lily, 2 ocean dreams, 1 strawberry swirl, and a midnight sky urgent. Max shouted from his post by the makeshift order station, a folding card table precariously balanced on a stack of old comic books. Lily, her tongue poking out from the corner of her mouth in concentration, meticulously strung turquoise and pearl-white beads onto a cord. Almost done, she replied, tying off the knot with practiced ease. Since they'd started, her fingers had become surprisingly deft. We need a system, Max declared, pacing restlessly. This is chaos. We are losing track of orders, running out of beads. He ran a hand through his already disheveled hair. Lily agreed. She grabbed a notepad and pen. Okay, you handle the orders, I'll manage inventory and production. We need to categorize the beads, label the containers, and maybe invest in a better table. They spent the rest of the afternoon transforming Max's messy garage into a slightly less messy, but more organized, bracelet-making hub. They created a color-coded system for the beads, assigning each color family its own container and label. Max designed a simple order form, complete with checkboxes for each bracelet style and a space for special requests. That evening, Mr. Rodriguez, seeing the controlled mayhem, chuckled. Looks like Bracelet Buddies is booming. He sat down at the workbench, picking up a handful of rainbow-colored beads. Let me give you some advice, from an old shopkeeper to some young entrepreneurs. First, track your expenses. Know how much each bracelet costs to make. Second, don't be afraid to adjust your prices. As demand increases, you can charge a bit more. And third, always deliver on your promises. He pointed to a pile of tangled elastic cord. Quality matters. Use the best materials you can afford. A broken bracelet is a lost customer. He paused, his expression becoming more serious. And most importantly, put everything in writing. Even with your best friend, a clear agreement protects everyone. Lily and Max exchanged a glance. The last part of his advice felt heavy, a subtle warning they both understood. They needed to protect their creation, their business, and their friendship. But how could they, really? Max, ever the optimist, shrugged. We've got this, right, Lily? Lily forced a smile. Right. Bracelets everywhere, and soon, in everyone's hands. But a tiny seed of unease had been planted, watered by her father's caution. The burgeoning success of Bracelet Buddies felt exhilarating, but also precarious. Lily's unexpected trip to the hospital. Lily felt it first period. A creeping nausea that made the cinnamon rolls in her stomach churn. By second, her head throbbed, a dull ache behind her eyes that intensified with every flickering fluorescent light. She mumbled an excuse to Mrs. Davison and stumbled to the nurse's office, the scent of antiseptic doing little to calm her roiling stomach. The nurse, a kindly woman with tired eyes, took Lily's temperature. 102, you're burning up, dear. I'll call your father. Mr. Rodriguez arrived with a worried frown etched on his face. Mija, what happened? He helped her into the car, the leather cool against her feverish skin. Just sick, Lily managed, closing her eyes against the sunlight assaulting her throbbing head. The doctor at the urgent care clinic ran tests, his expression growing increasingly concerned. We need to run more tests, he said, after what felt like an eternity. I'm recommending she be admitted to the hospital. The word hung in the air, heavy and ominous. Hospital. Lily squeezed her father's hand, her fear a tangible thing. Hours blurred into a haze of beeping machines, sterile smells, and nurses bustling in and out. Finally, the doctor returned, his face grim. It's a severe infection, Lily. We caught it just in time. You'll need to stay here for a few days, maybe a week, for 4 antibiotics. Panic seized her. Not the infection, not the needles, but Bracelet Buddies. The online launch. The orders that needed fulfilling. Maximum, but the business, she croaked, her voice weak. I have things to do. Mr. Rodriguez gently stroked her hair. Your health comes first, Lily. Bracelet Buddies will be fine. I can help Maximum. He hesitated, then added, maybe this is a good time to let him take the lead, show what he can do. Lily chewed her lip, anxiety warring with exhaustion. She reached for her phone, her fingers clumsy. She needed to talk to Maximum. He answered on the second ring, his voice bright and energetic. Lily. Everything's going great. I just finalized the influencer collab, and I think I found a better supplier for the clasps. They are cheaper, but I'm sure they are just as good. Max, Lily interrupted, her voice raspy. Oh. I'm in the hospital. The energy drained from his voice. What? What happened? She explained briefly, the effort making her head spin. You have to take care of everything. The launch, the orders, everything. A pause. But I don't know if I can do it all myself. You can, Max, she insisted, her voice firm despite her weakness. Remember the plan. The spreadsheets. Everything's there. Just be careful. And don't change too much, okay? Okay, Lily. I promise. Get better soon. She hung up, the phone slipping from her grasp. Her father squeezed her hand again, his eyes full of concern. Closing her eyes, she pictured Max at her desk, surrounded by beads and clasps, his brow furrowed in concentration. She hoped, with all her might, that she hadn't made a mistake. She hoped she hadn't entrusted her dream to someone who would steer it off course. Max's secret project, Max's cuffs. The silence in Lily's workspace pressed down on Max, a suffocating blanket. He raked his fingers through his already disheveled hair, the overhead light catching the glint of silver on his wire cutters. Lily's usual creative chaos, the kaleidoscope of beads and threads, had been replaced by unnerving order. Her designs were stacked as if silently accusing him. He'd rationalized his actions as mere tidying, ensuring her work remained pristine during her absence. Yet, his gaze kept returning to the spiraling complexity of a turquoise and silver-beaded bracelet, Ocean's Whisper, she'd christened it. The cool, smooth touch of the beads offered a fleeting solace. He recalled her beaming face the day she'd finished it, holding it aloft like a prize. He remembered the immediate clamor from customers desperate for their own piece of the ocean song. A cold weight settled in his gut. School loomed, the back-to-school frenzy just around the corner. Without Lily, the entire enterprise teetered on the brink. The momentum, the hard-earned profit, all at risk. He couldn't bear that thought. He abandoned the bracelet and flipped open his laptop. He navigated to Lily's preferred online supplier, the one known for its ethical sourcing. He placed a sizable order, a volume that dwarfed her usual requests. He told himself it was foresight, preparing for her inevitable return. But honesty whispered a different narrative. That afternoon, Max's room transformed into a makeshift workshop. He threaded, twisted, and clasped with newfound fervor, his nimble hands racing to keep up. While he couldn't quite replicate Lily's inherent artistry, he could fashion something adjacent. Sleek, angular designs in bolder, punchier hues emerged. Max's cuffs, he dubbed them. Catchy, right? The initial collection shimmered on his desk, ready for its debut. He carefully staged some photos, tweaking the lighting until they appeared professional. Uploading them to their shared social media, he carefully avoided any mention of Lily's name. New collection dropping next week. Snag these limited edition cuffs. The following day at school, he sported a black and silver creation himself, branding it Urban Edge. Inquiries started almost immediately. He launched into his carefully rehearsed pitch, expounding on the quality of the materials, the novel designs, the accessible price point. He conveniently omitted the source of his inspiration. "Dude, that's legit." "How much?" asked Jake, a certified tastemaker. Max flashed a grin. $15. Special deal, just for you. By the lunch bell, 5 cuffs had been traded for crumpled bills. The wad in his pocket radiated a comforting warmth. He envisioned Lily's recovery, her joyous return to a prospering business, stronger than ever. He was doing this for her, he insisted to himself. Preserving their shared dream. Yet, gazing at the remaining pieces, a seed of unease sprouted. These weren't Ocean's Whispers, or Firefly Dances, or any of the evocative names that Lily had breathed into her work. They were simply Max's cuffs. And they felt hollow. A strange discovery. The harsh glare of Northwood High's fluorescence assaulted Lily as she entered. The hospital's ghost, a sterile, medicinal odor, clung to her, clashing sharply with the school's usual mix of wax and adolescent energy. A dizzy spell threatened a retreat to that sterile room she'd so desperately escaped, but she pressed onward, longing for normalcy, 4 bracelet buddies. A week gone. A week of missed classes, absent crafting sessions, no time with Maximum. He'd visited, of course, bearing cards overflowing with well wishes, but she was nonetheless elated to be back. The lingering ache was a bearable cost for freedom. Something, however, felt amiss. The boisterous morning buzz was subdued, replaced by a hushed undercurrent. And everywhere they were there woven bands of vibrant floss, each sporting the same silver charms she had carefully selected. Only they weren't bracelet buddies. Max's cuffs proclaimed tiny tags swaying from each fastener. A cold dread gripped Lily as she halted abruptly. Sarah Miller, usually adorned with Lily's designs, offered a fleeting, apologetic grin, showcasing a scarlet and gold band. Lily. So great you're back. Isn't this amazing? Max really killed it. Lily forced a smile. It's striking. The bells peal offered a blessed reprieve. She saw Max by his locker, encircled by a throng, each person vying for a cuff. He laughed, hands animated, a picture of entrepreneurial success. Lily navigated the crush, her heart hammering against her ribs. Max, we need to talk. He flickered a glance, his smile momentarily disrupted, then reasserting itself. Lily. Hey. So good to see you. Just, showing off the cuffs. He avoided her gaze, fiddling with the arrangement on a nearby table. I noticed. Max, those are remarkably similar to bracelet buddies. His jovial demeanor evaporated, replaced by a vague discomfort. Yeah, well, you know, the style's a hit. I just refined it. Made it a little more me. A weak grin accompanied the words. Besides, you were out of commission and people still needed their fix, right? Lily swallowed, the knot in her stomach twisting tighter. But we were partners. We had an understanding. Things shift, Lily. Gotta roll with the punches, right? He clapped her shoulder, a tad too forcefully. Look, gotta dash. Big meeting with the yearbook crew about fundraising. We'll connect later, okay? And he vanished, absorbed by the crowd, leaving Lily stranded in the vibrant hallway, the disinfectant scent suddenly suffocating. The loud hues of Max's cuffs seemed to mock her from every wrist, every locker door, every corner. The dull ache in her side intensified, a sharp echo of the betrayal blooming within her. Betrayal. The sleek chrome of Max's cuffs display case reflected Lily's pale face back at her, distorted and unfamiliar. It was like staring into a funhouse mirror, mocking her naivete. The cuffs themselves, nestled on velvet cushions, were identical. The same intricate filigree, the same subtle curve to the metal, the same damn butterfly clasp she'd spent weeks perfecting. Max. Her voice, thin and reedy, barely carried over the lunchtime chatter in the artisan market. He was across the aisle, beaming at a customer, gesturing expansively at her designs. He finally looked up, his smile faltering for a split second before snapping back into place, brighter and more forced than before. Lily. Good to see you. Business is booming. Those cuffs, she said, walking towards him, each step feeling heavier than the last. The ones in the case. The butterfly clasp. Where did you get them? He chuckled, a sound that grated on her ears like sandpaper. Lily, always the inquisitive one. I designed them, of course. Inspired, you might say. He clapped the customer on the shoulder. Gotta run, big sale here. We can chat later. Inspired? Lily repeated, her voice rising despite her best efforts. Inspired? Max, those are my designs. My butterfly clasp that I showed you last month. He avoided her gaze, busying himself with rearranging a display of earrings that didn't need rearranging. Look, Lily, I don't have time for this. We can discuss it later, okay? No, Max, we are discussing it now. She planted herself in front of his stall, blocking his access to the customer. How could you do this? He sighed dramatically, rolling his eyes. Lily, don't be ridiculous. You're imagining things. You've been through a lot lately. Imagining things. She pulled out her phone, fumbling with it as her hands trembled. I have the original sketches, maximum. The prototypes. Everything. And what about the customers? She scrolled through her email, finding the proof she needed. These emails, these are from my mailing list. People who signed up at my booth. They are all thanking you for the early access to Max's cuffs. A flicker of something guilt crossed his face, but it vanished as quickly as it appeared. Lily, listen. But she wasn't listening. The pieces were clicking into place with sickening clarity. The way he'd been so eager to handle the marketing while she was recovering. The suspiciously high sales figures he'd been reporting, even though she hadn't seen the corresponding foot traffic. The way he'd rushed her to sign the partnership agreement, barely giving her time to read it. He hadn't just copied her designs. He'd stolen her entire business. The betrayal felt like a physical blow, winded her, leaving her gasping for air. This wasn't just a business partnership gone wrong, it was a violation, a theft of her creativity, her hard work, her very soul. "I trusted you," she whispered, her voice thick with unshed tears. The artisan market, once a symbol of their shared dreams, now felt like a cage. Max, once her friend, her partner, was now her jailer. The secret contract. Lily slumped onto the worn armchair in the living room, the springs groaning in protest. The scent of Abuela's simmering chicken soup, usually a comfort, did little to soothe the knot in her stomach. She stared blankly at the swirling patterns in the Persian rug, each loop a mocking reminder of the intricate designs she could no longer afford to create. Her dad walked in, his brow furrowed with concern. "Mija, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." She swallowed, the lump in her throat making it difficult to speak. It's bracelet buddies, Papa. Maria. Maria took all my clients." The words tumbled out, raw and laced with betrayal. She recounted the hospital stay, the lost sales, and Maria's sudden, inexplicable success, ending with the devastating realization that her client list was now Maria's client list. Mr. Rodriguez listened patiently, his hand resting on her shoulder. When she finished, he squeezed gently. "I'm so sorry, Lily. That's not right." He paused, his gaze drifting upwards as if searching for something on the ceiling. "Remember before you started Bracelet Buddies? We made a deal, didn't we?" Lily frowned, sifting through the jumble of memories. A deal? Before Bracelet Buddies? It felt like a lifetime ago. She had been so excited, so full of naive optimism. "I don't," she began, then stopped, a flicker of recollection in her eyes. "Wait, the contract." "Exactly," he said, a small smile playing on his lips. "I kept it. Just in case." Hope, fragile but persistent, sparked in Lily's chest. She hadn't thought about it in years. It had seemed so unnecessary then, a formality requested by her father, who always worried about the fine print. She found the document tucked away in a dusty box in the attic, nestled between old report cards and faded photographs. The yellowed paper crackled as she unfolded it, the familiar legal jargon a stark contrast to the childish doodles that adorned the margins, the testament to her youthful impatience. She scanned the clauses, her heart pounding in her chest. There it was, buried deep within the legalese, in the event that Lily Rodriguez is unable to fulfill her duties as sole proprietor of Bracelet Buddies due to unforeseen circumstances and another party assumes control of client communications and sales, all client lists and proprietary business information remain the sole property of Lily Rodriguez. A wave of relief washed over her, so potent it almost buckled her knees. The words swam before her eyes, promising a way forward. It wasn't just a piece of paper, it was a lifeline. A secret weapon, forged in love and foresight, ready to be deployed. This wasn't over. Justice at school. The principal's outer office hummed with the low thrum of nervous energy. Lily picked at a loose thread on her favorite corduroy pants, trying to ignore the weight of the manila envelope on her lap. Mr. Rodriguez sat beside her, radiating a quiet strength that calmed her frayed nerves. He'd spent the morning meticulously reviewing the contract, highlighting key clauses with a fluorescent yellow marker. Its glow seemed to illuminate the room, offering a beacon of hope in the face of her anxiety. "Ms. Rodriguez, Mr. Rodriguez," the secretary chirped, her perfectly coiffed hair barely moving as she spoke. "Principal Thompson will see you now." Principal Thompson's office smelled faintly of old books and lemon polish. Sunlight streamed through the large window, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. He rose from behind his imposing mahogany desk, his expression unreadable. "Lily, Mr. Rodriguez, thank you for coming in. Please, sit." Lily clutched the envelope tighter. "Thank you for seeing us, Principal Thompson." Mr. Rodriguez placed the manila envelope on the desk. "We have something that we believe requires your immediate attention." He slid the contract forward. "This is a legally binding agreement between Lily and Max Chen concerning their collaborative work on the school's coding projects. Principal Thompson raised a skeptical eyebrow. He picked up the contract, his gaze sweeping over the first page. A low whistle escaped his lips. He read in silence for several minutes, his brow furrowing deeper with each passing paragraph. The only sound was the gentle ticking of a grandfather clock in the corner. Finally, he set the contract down. "I need to speak with Maximum. Could you both wait outside?" The wait was agonizing. Every footstep in the hallway made Lily jump. She imagined Max in the office, his face paling as Principal Thompson laid out the evidence. She hoped he would be remorseful, but a cynical part of her doubted it. After what felt like an eternity, the door opened. Max emerged, his face a mask of carefully controlled composure. He avoided Lily's gaze. Principal Thompson appeared in the doorway, his expression grave. "Max has confirmed the existence of this agreement and the fact that he knowingly circumvented it. He understands there will be consequences." He looked at Lily, his eyes softening slightly. "Lily, I am deeply disappointed that this occurred. I assure you, appropriate action will be taken. Max will be receiving detention for the remainder of the semester and he will be removed from the leadership position on all coding projects. Furthermore, he will be required to give you full credit for the work he presented to the board." Relief washed over Lily, so potent it almost brought her to her knees. Justice, finally. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. A second chance and a new beginning. The bell above Lily's little knickknacks tinkled, a sound that usually brightened Lily's day, but now twisted her insides. Max shuffled in, resembling a neglected fern. The cocky grin she knew so well was absent, replaced by a slumped frame and shifty eyes. "Lily, can we talk?" The question rasped from his throat. She indicated the small table by the window, typically a riot of color showcasing her newest trinkets. Now, it sat barren, the shop's usual vibrancy muted by the shadow of his deceit. She held her ground behind the counter, a deliberate buffer. He sank into the chair, raking a hand through already mussed hair. "I screwed up, Lily. Royally. What I did with the clients, that contract, it was a mistake. A huge one." His gaze finally met hers and she detected a glint of genuine regret. "I panicked. I thought. I don't even know what I thought, other than I was about to lose everything." Lily crossed her arms, the silence thickening, a suffocating blanket between them. "You almost did." The words emerged flat, devoid of inflection. "You almost lost everything, Maximum dragging me down with you." A wince rippled across his face. "Oh no. And I'm deeply, truly sorry. I've already been to a lawyer. I'm returning all the client accounts to Bracelet Buddies, according to the agreement." He paused, his voice laced with vulnerability. "I wouldn't blame you if you never wanted to lay eyes on me again." Her gaze swept the shop, lingering on the beads scattered across her workbench, the incomplete bracelets yearning for her touch. Bracelet Buddies wasn't just commerce, it was her passion, the tangible form of her creativity. And Max had been integral to that dream. A potent desire to slam the door and obliterate him warred with a quieter, more practical notion, perhaps redemption was possible. The contract wasn't some hidden clause, Maximum. It was there, clear as day, for both of us. You made a conscious choice to disregard it. Why should I ever trust your word again? He looked up, a flicker of hope igniting in his eyes. "Because I've learned, Lily. The brutal, gut-wrenching way. I know I need to earn back your faith. And I'm willing to do whatever it demands." A novel idea blossomed within Lily, a chance to salvage something from the wreckage. Bracelet Buddies needs an overhaul. A complete transformation. New concepts, a fresh identity. We've stagnated, Maximum grown complacent. She approached the table, snatching a notepad and pen. "Let's brainstorm." He appeared taken aback, then tentatively hopeful. You're willing to give me another shot?" "Consider it a probationary period," she countered, scribbling furiously on the pad. "One misstep, and you're out. But if you're genuinely committed to rectifying this, then let's see what you're capable of. No more shortcuts, Maximum. This time, we play by the rules." He pulled up a chair, a genuine smile finally breaking through the gloom. "All right, Lily. Let's rebuild this thing. Together." Afternoon sunlight poured through the window, illuminating the table where they began to sketch and strategize, the atmosphere charged with a fragile optimism, a nascent revival rising from the ashes of broken trust.